Big story. Stop the presses. Man bites dog. Andrew Tate has been accused of choking a woman 2 weeks after he returned to the United States. Andrew Tate, we've talked about him a few times on this show. He's this social media influencer, but he made his bones prostituting women on the internet and he faces these charges in Romania of running a criminal enterprise and all sorts of bad stuff. So the headline now is that one of his girlfriends is accusing him of choking her, hitting her, all the rest. And you can see the text messages and stuff like, he's telling her, I really want to hit you and I really like hitting you and I own you and you're my slave and all this kind of weird stuff. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if the allegations are true. However, I guess I'm inclined to think they're true because this man has bragged about doing these things before. That's kind of part of his brand, I guess. And has even been filmed, smacking women and all sorts of stuff like that. Now, his defense of that, from what I've seen, again, I haven't delved deeply into Andrew Tate's oeuvre, but his defense of that is when a video came out of him hitting a woman and threatening a woman and saying all the things that have come out in these text messages, he says, we were just playing around. That's our kink, basically. And I kind of believe him on this. It's one thing for a man to hit a woman. That's horrific enough. But for a man to text about how excited he is to hit a woman and, wait for the response back, that's clearly a deeper kind of pathology. So that's why I'm speaking about it, because I don't think anyone, including Andrew Tate, would dispute the basic allegations of this case, or this allegation, or this claim that's just come out recently within the last couple of weeks. The question is it good or bad? Was it all in good fun, or was this abusive? And I guess my question is, what's the difference? I've made this point before. When people are really ironic all the time, they're really ironic. Millennials are guilty of an extreme degree of irony. And I think, well, if you're ironic all the time, then I think you're just kind of earnest. If you do something ironically all the time, then that's just what you're doing, and that's just who you are. And the story about Tate, it gets to a much deeper political and spiritual problem, which is he appears to be a slave to his own passions. If this stuff is true, if the things he said in public are true, that he really gets off on hitting women and feeling that he owns them and branding them, putting his name and tattoos on their bodies, if all these things are true, they obviously appear to be true, then he's got a problem. He's a slave to his own disordered appetites and passions, which means he's a slave. Being a slave is not just being chained up to a cabin in the antebellum South. In fact, the deeper and more insidious form of slavery, ultimately the only form of slavery that can ever really take control of you, is this personal slavery where your reason and your will are slaves to your appetite and your instinct. And that's what seems to have happened here. Go to showallegiance.com, use promo code Knowles. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America that was made right here in America by the good folks at Allegiance Flag Supply. There is no better way to show your love of country, love for our troops, and love for freedom than by flying your American flag. Don't get a cheap, flimsy one that was made overseas. An Allegiance flag tells a story. It was handcrafted in Charleston, South Carolina. All the components, from the flagpole to the spinners and mounts, were sourced right here in the U.S. I love a good American flag. I'm a sucker for an American flag. Got a lot of American flag pins. I fly an American flag in my car. I have an Allegiance American flag for my home. I have another one in my office. I have another one in my studio. This is really, really high quality. Now's the time to celebrate. These days, these are good times to get an American flag. Fly it proudly. We've been discouraged from flying American flags for a long time. Well, good. Fly yours proudly and make sure it is an American flag, and the very best out there, Allegiance. The Allegiance flag right now. You go to showallegiance.com. Experience the difference of an American-made flag. Use promo code Knowles. Get free shipping as well. Showallegiance.com. Be sure to enter promo code Knowles, KNWLES, at checkout. Showallegiance.com for American flags made the American way. A buddy of mine who's a recovered alcoholic tells me about a line from AA, which is it's a warning. It says, wherever you go, there you are. You think you can run away from your problems. You think you fly to another country or leave your family or whatever you're going to do. You think that I'm going to put my problems behind me, but wherever you go, there you are. So if you have, now I'm moving beyond Tate, I guess he's an example of this. If you have some addiction, if you have some perversion that has been solidified over time, you're addicted to, so you go into more extreme, or you get addicted to drugs and you go into more extreme kinds of drugs, or you get addicted to any bad habit, gluttony, pride, wrath, any of it. That's just going to be with you. Okay, and there's no way to free yourself from that, ultimately, because you require God's grace. You'll never actually free yourself from that. But having received God's grace, you can cooperate with God's grace. And this is why the man who sins is a slave to sin. This is what Christ means in the gospel when he says, the man who sins is a slave to sin. And sin is a very, very heavy yoke that will break you down to the ground. And the alternative to that is to accept God's grace and to cooperate with God's grace and to put our Lord's yoke upon you, which is a yoke. It's a yoke meaning don't do that weird sex thing that Andrew Tate likes or whatever. Don't hit people. Don't give in to wrath. Don't give in to pride. Don't eat the fifth cupcake even. Don't do vice and sin. Because there will be a real yoke upon you, but the yoke is easy and the burden is light. It's a much better yoke than the alternative. That's where true freedom is, anyway. And that's why the liberals don't understand what freedom is. That's a good clip, huh? What do you think? Be honest. It's all right. It's just me and you here. I agree. So then subscribe. And then, we'll have more of it. See you next time.